Believing women, if your pastors haven't taught you what the parable of the fig tree is, it means you don't know how to watch. And if you're not watching, the Messiah is going to come unto you like a thief in the night. And if you don't know about the parable of the fig tree, it also means you probably don't know that Satan and a third of his angels are going to get cast down over America, Mystery Babylon, the drunkards of Ephraim, in a springtime event right before the summer. And if you're not watching, and if you're not laboring and sorrowing, then you're not going to know how long that time period is before great tribulation hits, and then you're taken like a thief in the night when Satan and his angels are cast down over Mystery Babylon and they're trodden underfoot. So if you don't know the parable of the fig tree, and if your pastors haven't taught you to watch, why are you still in those churches when Revelation 18:4 says, "Come out of her, my people"? So women, let's learn what it means to watch. You can read Matthew 24, then read Mark 13. He's going to tell you what the signs of the end of the world and his comings are. And he says, be not deceived in both accounts, because many false Christs are going to come in his name, deceiving, if it were possible, even the elect. But if you read Revelation 12, it tells you that the very elect, or the Satan's going to deceive the whole world, right, when he's cast down. But this verse in, if you read Matthew 24:24, it tells you that, he's also not going to deceive the very elect. So who are these people? It's going to be those who love God, keeping his 10 commandments, and loving neighbor, because they're watching out for their very souls by teaching them the commandments, rebuking them when they're in sin, watching and warning when the Messiah returns of what's going to happen, so that they can repent, so that the blood isn't on our hands anymore, on your hands when you see them sin, but it's on their own heads, because they were warned of their sin, but they just didn't take heed to the servants of God. And so you have to watch, meaning if you see someone in sin and it claims to be a believer, then you're going to warn them of their sin. And so he's going to reveal these things to those that are watching. And you can read about the watchman calling, Ezekiel 2:3 and 33. But for right now, let's focus on the parable of the fig tree. But take you heed, behold, I have foretold you all these things. But in those days after that tribulation, right, those 10 years of laboring and sorrowing, of the watchmen doing their jobs here, the sun shall be darkened and the moon shall not give her light. And the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man, Yeshua, coming in the clouds with great glory and power, right? They're going to see the 144,000 coming back with him and his saints. Or the saints in the 144:1. And then shall be his angels, and shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the uttermost part of the earth unto the uttermost parts of heaven. There's going to be a second Exodus so great, they don't even talk about the first anymore. And it's in the same chapter that tells you that your pastors are lying to you and scattering God's flock and destroying them, right, for lack of knowledge, because they're not feeding you the truth. So he's going to raise up a group of people to go and feed you the truth, and he's going to take them on a second Exodus. And so Jeremiah 23. But let's go over to Revelation 12. Well, actually, let's finish this up. Now, so then he tells you all this is going to happen, right? Now learn a parable of the fig tree. So when a branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, right? This is going to be a springtime when she does this. You know the summer is near. And if you know about fig trees, there's two droppings. There's the later summer harvest, which is the good ones. And then there's these untimely early figs, which are like not the good ones. So you in like manner, when you shall see these things come to pass, know that it is nigh, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, that this generation shall not pass till all these things be done. Heaven and earth shall not pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day and that hour knoweth no man, not the angels which are in heaven, neither Son, but the Father. So only the Father knows. Take you heed, watch and pray, for you know not when that time is. For the Son of Man, so this is talking about Yeshua, is as a man taking a far journey, who has left his house and gave authority to his servants, those who are serving him, and to every man his work, right? So we know this isn't the pastors in the church, because they're teaching it's not a works-based salvation, and your Messiah says otherwise. And commanded the porter to watch. I bet you they didn't teach you about the porter, did they? There's this main watchman who he's woken up first, right? And he's waking up the rest of the people to watch and warn also, aka Watchmen Wake Up on YouTube and TikTok. Watch ye therefore, for you know not when the master of the house cometh, at even or at midnight or at the cock crowing or in the morning, lest suddenly he find you sleeping. And what I say unto you, I say unto all. Which is curious, because in 1 Thessalonians 5, it tells you that there is a group of brethren who know the times and seasons, right? So he has no need that he writes unto them, because they know perfectly well that the day of the Lord comes like a thief in the night, right? And so they know when he's coming because they're watching and God's revealed it to them. 1 Thessalonians 5, but of the times and seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, right, that's what the churches are already promising you, then sudden destruction cometh upon you, as travail a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that you should be taken over as a thief. Ye are the children of the light, and the children of the day. We are not of the darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. So go read Isaiah 29:9 or 10. It tells you that, well, actually, for being drunk, right? It tells you that it's not with wine or strong drink. It's their pride. If you read 28 to 29. And then to not sleep means you're not going to be not warning the people. You're not going to be a dumb dog that can't bark, right? Revelation 22:14-15, the dogs don't enter because they're not being good watchmen. They're not. God woke people up to watch and warn the church, his people, but they're not doing it. So they're the dumb dogs that don't enter the kingdom. So let's go to Revelation 6:12. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal. So the sixth seal is going to be this great tribulation and the springtime event. And lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and moon as blood, and the stars of heaven fell. Remember Mark 13 and Matthew 24. Upon the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places, right? And 2 Peter 3 tells you, okay, well, the Christians know the first flood, but they're willingly ignorant of the second. Why? Because they're not searching these things out. The pastors aren't feeding them the truth. And when they hear the truth, a lot of 90% of people that come across this video aren't going to listen and search it out. Okay, Revelation 12, key chapter. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. This is the Revelation 12 sign that happened in September 2017. Marks the start of that 10-year period of labor and sorrow mentioned in the times of sorrow, Matthew 24. A woman delivers at 10 centimeters. It's just like that 10 years of sorrow. And she, being with child, travailing in birth, cried in pain to be delivered. Who does she deliver? The 144,000. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, right? And so this is talking about that sixth seal, the fig tree event. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness. This is the second Exodus in the ignorant church, the ignorant people, where she has a place prepared of God that they should feed her there 1,260 days. So this is the 3.5 years of great tribulation. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found in heaven anymore in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out unto the earth, and his angels were cast out with him, except for the elect, right? So then Satan goes after the woman like a flood, right? Because he's trying to destroy them. And so why? And the dragon was wroth with the woman, went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which kept the commandments of God, right? They obeyed God and the testimony of Yeshua Messiah, right? They had the spirit of prophecy. They were warning the people. They knew the prophecy of the Messiah. If you don't know it, it's in Deuteronomy 18:15-18. He came to teach all that was desired at Horeb, and if you don't keep it, you're gonna be destroyed, per Acts 3:19. Read Isaiah 28, because this is where it's going to take place. It's referencing Mystery Babylon, which is the same as Ephraim. Woe to the crown of pride, the drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower, which are on the head of the fat valley of them that are overcome with wine. Behold, Jehovah has a mighty and strong one, which is a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters, overflowing shall cast down to the earth with the hand, right? Revelation 12. And then it tells you it's going to be this glorious beauty of fading flower, make America great again as a hasty fruit before the summer. There's your fig tree event. Go and read these chapters, study them out, It talks about the refreshing, your rest and Sabbath, the 10 Commandments, but you won't hear. Search